Can you hear me talking or no?
No, 1 second. Yeah, now I can see. Yeah, you can start.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ashish Jhalani. I'm the managing director for Square Panda in India. Square Panda, very briefly, I'll give you a quick rundown of what Square Panda is. Then we'll get into our topic of the day, which is the impact of EdTech on primary education, especially when we're dealing with young kids in India. And I'll try to switch between English and Hindi as much as I can. And this is an interactive session, so if you have questions, please share them on the screen. I'll check through the different timings, and then I'll answer them as I finish each section. So very quickly going back, Square Panda started in 2014 in the Silicon Valley in the US with a singular vision in mind. It was started by Andrew Butler. He has a unique story. His daughter was having challenges learning at the pace that her other friends, etc., were learning at, and he was looking for a personalized solution for his daughter. And as such, the company came alive. He came up with the first set of products, etc. But when we launched, we said it cannot be only based on kids that are struggling. We need to have a much bigger set of children that benefit from personalized learning. And as such, Square Panda was created, and with one single vision in mind, empowering all children to reach their full potential by launching their educational journey with the power of literacy and language. Again, we say power of literacy and language, but basically what we specialize is in English literacy, and specifically for ages 2 through 8. Okay, and as we all know, this age group is where we build foundational skills. So we actually are, as a company, look at foundational skills as our major thing. 2015, we had the former number one tennis player, Andre Agassi, make an investment in us. And he has now become one of our top investors. For people that don't know, Andre is a very big education entrepreneur. He's set up education initiatives in the US and in scale of billions of dollars, not just millions of dollars. So he's a very big investor in the education space. 2017, we actually launched a China office because we saw a huge potential in China for a product that actually has English literacy. In 2018, we launched our India office, which is now upwards of 100 people. We have teams that are developing the product here. We have biz dev, marketing, everything here. And ultimately, as a company, this year, we have about 100,000 plus children that currently use our English literacy program. And we have about 2,500 plus schools in the US, okay? And these 100,000 children I'm talking about are mainly in the US and then in China. In India, we got started a little while back, and we're slowly gaining traction in India, and thousands of people are actually starting to use our product. And we're also working with state governments and schools in India to actually spread our product across India and not just be limited to the big metros. As a company, and sorry, before I move forward, for the people that joined in later, as you come up with questions, please share them. That this is going to be, once I'm done with a few more introductory pieces, I want to use the time as more and question and answer and interactive session. Even though I can't hear you guys, I still would like to answer any concerns or questions that you have. So Square Panda's product core focus was to build a product with the help of science and neurology of learning to read. Okay, and it took years of research with our in-house neuroscientist, Dr. Vera, working with neuroscientists at Stanford to create a very personalized learning platform. This personalized learning platform, our belief is that it needs to be multisensory, meaning we're not only digital, we need to have physical senses involved because we're dealing with such young kids. It's game-based because young kids have a shorter attention span. If you're going to just teach them something, they need to be able to learn while playing. So our product is game-based. And the biggest thing is it provides immediate feedback to the adult, maybe a teacher, a parent, etc., as to how the child is performing in the different skills that we are covering. Okay, so with all of that, we actually developed a suite of products, and I'll very quickly talk about it, and then we'll get into very specific things that people have asked for. So our suite of products starts off with our core platform, which is called Square Land. It's a literacy foundation platform. So basically, it teaches phonological awareness, it teaches phonics, vocabulary, comprehension, etc. And it is coupled with our physical playset. So we have a physical playset that a child places tactile letters on, builds their motor skills as well. And then like we said, our concentration is to be multisensory. So we want to make sure that the child always has something physical that is happening, right? So the playset combined with Square Land gives us our literacy platform, okay? As we moved into China, we realized we needed something for English as a second language market, right? Because kids there have a very different requirement. India is very similar. So kids here may also have different requirements than kids in the US because kids there are understanding and learning English and hearing English every day as they walk out, as they go to stores, etc., versus markets that are English as second language markets. So Square English was developed. It's a more thematic learning approach rather than the personalized learning approach that Square Land has. And then ultimately in 2019, we launched a revolutionary product called Square Tales. It's an early reading product. The revolutionary system introduces letters in small groups, allowing children to begin their reading journey with just 8 letters. Okay, so what we learn is, okay, you go through the full alphabet, right? A through Z, learn karna, and then we start to speak or read. Okay, but that's not what we believe. We believe with a smaller set of letters, we should be able to get the child to read, and this is the core premise of Square Tales, right? So just with 8 letters, and by the way, we don't start as a company with A, B, C, D, E. We believe that there are letters that the child will pick up faster, sooner, and can quickly start to make progress in their reading journey. So for instance, we start with SMAP, TFIN, and then we go on that way. So anyway, going back to Square Tales. So Square Tales builds the most foundation of all skills, which is reading, okay? We've all, in our daily life, reading is a very big part of it. May it be in English or in Hindi or in another language, right? First, it's said that you first learn to read and then you read to learn, because once you know how to read, you will go ahead and increase your learning capabilities, not only in English, but in other areas as well. Lastly, we believe that Square Tales, once the child by itself learns to read, will make them more confident and dependent, right? They don't particularly need a tutor or a teacher all the time, right? They need it at certain times, but not all the time, because they are more confident. Once they know 8 letters, they start to read. It's going to make them much more independent. All right. So going back, enough about Square Panda, enough about what we do and what our products are. Let's go back to the topic of the session, right? How EdTech impacts primary education. We all are going through lockdown in India, right? And we all hear new terms every day, right? There's a new term that I just saw a couple of days ago, and I think it's becoming very common, called the new normal, right? And for years, we've been hearing another term called the paradigm shift. Okay, so what does that mean? Right. So basically, what we're saying is now after this lockdown, once the country opens up, doesn't mean we can just go out or we meet our friends and we can have social gatherings in offices. We can be back to normal, where we're having lunches together. We're sitting right next to each other. The new normal is going to be maintaining social distancing. The new normal is going to be that we need to take care and build our immunities for things like COVID-19. But the other new normal is that in the education, maybe in your child's education, or if you're soon going to have a child, in their education in the future, um, basically, remote learning and self-learning tools are going to play a very important role. Okay, so today we were so used to going to school or tutors. Teacher will teach us, tutors will teach us, and then it's okay because most of the early learning happens that way. But given the situation we're in and the new normal, EdTech will play a huge role, right? Because being at home, we realize that the child cannot stop learning, right? Just because they're home for 2, 3, 4, 5 months, and maybe even longer at some time, we can't stop their learning, right? They're at an age where their brain will form, and they will learn the most now. So every day, every month that we don't have them learning, we're losing out on their future, right? So EdTech is going to play a huge role to bring remote learning and self-learning tools in our houses. Okay, so I'm going to take a pause here, look at a couple of the questions that have come up that I want to make sure that we make this interactive. So I want to, kind of answer that. And one question, actually two of them, very close to each other. One talks about how do we leverage EdTech. And by the way, EdTech simply means education technology, right? It's a short form that we use nowadays. Everybody has a short form for everything. EdTech is one of those. And basically it is, okay, so for, how do we leverage EdTech for our child's learning? So let me also try to see if I can use multiple languages, because our audience is mixed, and I want to make sure that we talk to everybody as well. And my challenge, by the way, is most of my life I was educated abroad, so English is my first language. Hindi is my second language, so sometimes coming back to Hindi takes a while. But so question is कि edtech products को हमारे चिल्ड्रन के लिए कैसे यूज़ करा जाए, राइट? उनके लर्निंग के लिए बेटर कैसे यूज़ किया जाए, टूल्स क्या अवेलेबल हैं फॉर यंग चिल्ड्रन. एंड यंग का मतलब है वी टॉकिंग अबाउट 2 years to 8-year old children, right? And what I want to say is, as far as options are concerned, बहुत सारे options हैं, right? You go to YouTube, you'll find hundreds of videos. अगर नेट पे सर्च करेंगे कि English learning products, बहुत सारे searches में available आएंगे, right? And the thing is, there's numerous, right? Both free and subscription based, okay? वो teach कर सकते हैं English, maths, even social skills, right? अगर बच्चों को social skills सिखाना है तो you'll find online programs जो YouTube पे भी मिलेंगे या subscription के साथ भी मिल सकते हैं that teach even social skills, right? And then you have programs like ours, which like Square Panda or Square Tales, which teach English as a language. Or you can have another program जहाँ पे दूसरी language teach कर, right? Maybe Spanish or Mandarin or Chinese, or I mean whatever language you want to teach your child. वो सब available है, all right? These resources. Now, the problem is which resource is the best is the question that we should be asking as parents, right? कौन सा resource को believe करें, कौन सा resource really will help our child, right? And I think there are two things that that I, as a parent, not as the managing director for Score Panda, but I, as a parent, right? I have two boys. They're older now, but if when they were younger, I think same question was existing. Was what is the difference in the curriculum or the pedagogy of these different platforms, right? कि इनके पीछे जो research है, जो curriculum है, वो कितना strong है, right? क्योंकि availability तो बहुत सारी है, but right availability क्या है, right? And then second piece is कि किसको trust करें, because somebody will say कि हम ये teach करते हैं, but how do you know कि वो teach करते हैं नहीं करते हैं, हमारा child उससे learn करेगा या नहीं करेगा? And this is where when things, a platform like ours really set us apart, right? क्योंकि with 100,000 plus children already using it, with 2,500 schools in the US, and this year that number is more than double, using our product. In India, several state governments are looking at our product. Several schools are using our product. That's where trust really comes in, right? We know that कि उससे trust आएगा. So you will be able to find products out there that you can trust and have a pedagogy behind it. And it's not just Square Panda. There are many other products in the market, but criteria ये होना चाहिए देखने का. Okay. Let me just look if there are any other new questions come up. I have seen a few questions otherwise also, but I want to make sure that if new questions are coming up, I also look at those. One of the questions that came up was, and I'll repeat the question. We have heard that first 3 years are very crucial, right? Children are like mud and they can be shaped the way they want. So what are the practices we can do with our children in these years? And I think this is a perfect question. I think a parent asking this question, that's just perfect, right? So what should we be doing with children at this age? And like I said, the first few years are critical, right? Like crucial, like the parent also shares. We should be building their foundational skills. And our foundational skills, like I said, we really believe, and I really believe, that the foundational skill resides in reading, right? We've heard that ki bedtime stories पढ़नी चाहिए बच्चों को. When they grow up, it makes them better learners. And it's a practice that has existed for centuries, right? So for me, even at the youngest age, can we start them to start to read? And this is the whole premise that we're working on, right? That can we get the child with very simple number of letters to start reading? Because it will set that foundational skill. So to kind of answer that question, I think setting the foundational skills, especially in reading, is very important. And it doesn't have to be English, right? So don't get me wrong. English is not required just always as a reading, right? You can be doing your own language, Hindi, Marathi, Gujarati, whatever you want to teach the child. But it has to be around reading. Okay, I really believe that reading really changes the child's future, right? So we need to make sure that reading remains on top of it. Okay. I hope I answered that question. There's another question that came up. How does EdTech support the overall learning of kids? So I think question is, like this technology, right, or a digital product, how does it actually help with the overall learning of the child, right? बच्चा कैसे learn करेगा? Because there's products out there, and I'll answer it from the parent's perspective, right? Me obviously being a parent, and a lot of you being parents as well. So the way the parent has to look at it is that we don't have the knowledge or the know-how of the latest and the greatest teaching skills, right? our teachers do. That's what they're good at, right? But at home, we still need to be able to support these young children. And we don't know these. I mean, we have to admit that every day there are new ways to teach. There are new methodologies, new research that said कि अच्छा ये करेंगे तो बच्चे का brain ऐसे develop होगा, वो करेंगे तो बच्चे का brain ऐसे develop होगा. So we have to make sure that we support ourselves with something or some products that will help us teach our child. And this is where EdTech comes in, right? Education, our technology products give our children, in most cases, give our children the digital tools that have the latest research in them, right? And with minimal knowledge from us as parents, okay? We may want to learn, and we can help our children that way, but at least these products will help us make that job easier, right? And how much time we need to spend, it's up to us, right? A lot of parents are concerned that अगर बच्चा product use कर रहा है digital, तो हमारे साथ time spend नहीं कर रहा है, या they're by themselves. Well, that's all up to us, right? A lot of the products allow you to have minimal intervention, meaning आप child को दे दो tablet पे या phone पे या laptop पे, and the child is self-guided and वो खुद अपने आप सीखते हैं lesson to lesson, and you as a parent can watch on your dashboard as to what it is. The other is, we can sit with our child. We can have them in our lap and do the reading practices maybe, or other things with them. So the intervention and how much time we spend is really up to us. Okay, so I think the concern that I've also heard many times is, how much technology is too much at this young age, right? And I've interacted with many parents, my own friends, as well as outsiders, where their first concern is कि अरे screen time नहीं होना चाहिए, या बच्चा addicted हो जाएगा. Well, you know what? I have to share that technology is all around us, right? We all अगर ये देख भी रहे हैं, तो we have technology, and with, let's say, at home, we all have given the children either a phone to play with, or a tablet, or something that's technology based, right? So technology to hai, and it's all around us. The goal is, can we use the time that the child has with that technology to teach them something? And in the case that we look at, right, we want 15 or 20 minutes for the child to use Square Tales, let's say. And in those 15 and 20 minutes, because Square Tales has characters, it's game-based, what will happen is the child thinks कि वो लोग खेल रहे हैं, right? They're playing something. And but reality is they're actually learning, okay? They're learning to read. Right? And it's with other products as well, right? Our Square Land is the same way. It's all game-based, right? Usme adventure hai. The child goes on an adventure, right? They go through different islands. In an island, unka ek space hota hai. They actually create their own learning space, right? And there's a lot more engagement that can be created for the child through these systems. But again, going back to the question, I think 15, 20 minutes a day, ना तो addicted करेगा उन्हें, or neither is it going to hurt their eyes or whatever the parent believes. I mean, there are studies around this. But the other thing we have to remember as parents is that anyway, all around us is technology, okay? So that's going to continue existing as we move. So I'm just going through some of the questions that are coming up. So, somebody asked, are there digital independent learning platforms for child of this age with minimal adult intervention? So basically what they're asking is, are there platforms that are independent that doesn't require a parent or a teacher's intervention? And like I said, I think there are many, right? Our platform is made that way. We believe in minimal amount of intervention. May it be in a school, may it be at home. We believe that it should be based on the parent or the teacher's choice, the amount of intervention. And yes, there are many other products which are self-guided for the child. They're made for the child, right? They actually, the instructions, if you hear them, वो child को बोलेंगे ये करो. They won't say कि अच्छा parent आप child से ये कराओ. There is no such thing, right? So yes, there are 100% a lot of products out there, including ours, which have minimal intervention. There's a tricky question that I'll try to answer in my way, but something that I will leave up to educationists, and because their belief may be different than what I may have. Somebody asked, at what age should children be taught to write? And again, writing is a process. And again, like I said, I am neither a neuroscientist, neither a teacher, etc. But as running an English literacy company, we start the children on tracing very early, right? So a first step to writing is actually tracing. So we actually start tracing activities with children probably much younger, right? Probably it's in our games, there's no restriction. What happens is if the child reaches that level, let's say if they're 3 years old or 4 years old, and they reach that level, they can go ahead and start tracing, which is the first step to writing, right? And if they're younger even, and they have the ability and they can get to tracing, then yes, that's also part of it. So anyway, my short answer is we allow it as early as the child's capabilities, right? Remember, for tracing even, they have to have some fine motor skills. And then as they come into writing, there's obviously a lot of motor skills that they need. So that gets developed over time. And our system, especially our multisensory system, actually allows them to develop that, okay? Somebody asked another question that I would like to also answer, and I'll take a quick stab at it. Somebody asked, is EdTech better than traditional way of learning? And I don't want to say that EdTech is better or worse than traditional. They can be complementary, right? Like as company, we're working with schools, we're working with teachers, we're working with large states to complement their traditional methods with EdTech, right? Like I said, not everybody has the ability, maybe not in resource or time, to find out what are the best ways to teach a certain topic or a skill, right? EdTech helps us in that. May I be even a teacher? Maybe there are new things that are coming up as every day. I may want my schools or my children to know that, and as such, I may take help of an EdTech product to do that. So to answer that question, no, EdTech better is not. I can't say it's better, but it's definitely something that can become complementary, and at times it's the product of choice when you're at home, right? Because then you don't have the traditional way of learning at home for longer periods of time. So yeah, I mean, I think EdTech has a space. I won't call it that it is better or not better. Okay. Sorry, looking through some more questions. I want to make sure there's a few more minutes that I can answer a few more questions that are out there. So I'll take one or two more. So somebody asked, can I monitor my child's activity in these EdTech products? And I have to say that most EdTech products today are built with real-time analysis of the child's progress, right? Like Square Panda and Square Tails, you can actually go to the parent dashboard if you're a parent, or if you're a teacher, you go to the teacher dashboard, and you can actually see what the child has done, what progress they've made, and what is their skills matrix look like, right? कि उन्हें कितना एक skill को learn किया है, because every child may learn it differently. Some children learn one skill better than the other skill. Some children learn other skills before. So these dashboards that are readily available now in EdTech products give you a very quick view where the child is, and you can definitely track how they're doing. Okay, so. Yes. Now let me just look again. A few more questions. I want to make sure before the time runs out. So somebody asked, what is the learning purpose of the app I was talking about? So I don't know. I talked about 3 apps, but I'm assuming they're talking about SquareTales. SquareTales is, like I said, it's an early reading product, right? Like I said, with 8 letters, we try to teach the child to start reading. Okay, that's an amazing feat, by the way. And I have to share a quick story just for the parents here. We did a basic trial of this product in places where English is not spoken. Children are not exposed to English as a language, right? And what we found was within, and I'm not making this up, within a few weeks, we had the children that have never spoken a word of English starting to read in English, okay, with Square Tails. Not only that, these children started to use the words in their daily talk or the daily conversation that they were having, which is amazing given that before we had started the pilot with them, these kids didn't know anything. And I'm talking about children that, and this is the people that we wanted to test on, because honestly, our kids in Mumbai or Delhi or Bangalore or whatever, they hear English, they see shows in English on TV, they'll hear people around them. But children that are away from these big cities, when they start using a product like SquareTails and start to speak, that's when we know that the product works and the efficacy is there with the product. Okay, sorry, just checking again for any other questions online. If you have, we have another few minutes, but if you have something, let me know, and because we're going to be done. Um, so somebody asked, how early can I introduce this? And what I think I answered that earlier. I'll just repeat it very quickly. So we look at, we say the age bracket for our products start at age 2. And realistically, we think that's real. We have had children 18 months and above, as soon as they're able to handle the device, starting to use the product. And it does take them a little longer to understand the concepts of how do they actually read that book on the platform. But yes, we've seen kids start as early as 18 months. But what we recommend is between 2 to 8 is what the age bracket should be. Okay. So something that somebody asked, how can I help my child learn at home during the lockdown? I think I answered that already multiple times. We're all going through this. So, but this gives us an opportunity to truly try these products that exist, right? Usually we're so busy in our own worlds, in the children's school, in other activities, that we don't ever try the set of products that exist in the market. Right here, can, and right now, not just us, actually, including us, every EdTech company has offered free subscriptions. Right, basically, we should be able to go out and download these products and test them, because there is a free subscription. Like SquareTails, for instance, you can download it, try it out. If you like it, you subscribe. If you don't like it, uninstall it. But it's not just us. All EdTech products are the same. So at this time when we're home, we have the ability to test this out with our children, see if we can see the learning and the progress in them. Okay. Let me just again make sure there's no other questions that are pending that makes sense for me to answer. Somebody very specifically asked the link of the app. You can actually search for it and be able to find it. Squaretails.in is our website. So if you go there, you should be able to find the link to the App Store where our app exists. So I think I'm out of any other questions that are relative to our topic. There's some others which are not so relative. Very quickly to summarize, it's already 5:30. I'll quickly summarize. So EdTech is here to stay, right? ये everyday life का part है. Now with the lockdown, we realized that the progression of EdTech in our home has been sped, right? Now it's there. My two children use EdTech products to be taught in classrooms. We all also realized that a lot of the schools implemented remote learning. So the COVID-19 situation has brought EdTech into our homes already. And it's going to stay. We realize that we need it, right? Because you don't know when these situations will arise, but the learning cannot stop, right? And it's not just our home. You look at rural areas. The government working hard to make sure that there's penetration of EdTech products in the rural areas. But again, we can't stop the children's learning as a country, or even as parents. If we want progression to happen, the learning cannot stop. So EdTech is here to stay. There's a lot of work that's going on in providing all kinds of virtual reality, augmented reality, etc. But you know what? Even if you don't, as a parent, believe in all those fancy, names and etc., just using a technology or a digital product will help you get your child using the latest and the greatest in research that all of us are working on. Like I said, we spent years building our product. We have a huge team of researchers that continue to do that. So EdTech brings that to your home without you having to learn it, or the teachers having to tell you that. Anyway, I think I'm out of time. Again, I wanted to thank you all for joining. And do write to me if you want, if you're looking for some other answers or some or anything else. And like I just end by saying, if you're interested to try product out, look at squaretales.in, squaretales.in, and you should be able to find a link to download our product. But again, thank you all, and have a good day. Thank you.